Hey there, Aries. Welcome to your reading for the week of May 5th. This week, we are going to jump right in here. And sorry, I was moving some decks around. But you start with this Choose a Path card. It says, there are many paths before you, but you may only choose one. You have this unfolding beauty. It says, everything is unfolding as it should. Surrender and live in the unexpected. So you could be kind of like on your path right now with these cards. The Nine of Swords makes sense. I do feel like there could be worries or concerns when everything is fine here, Aries. So some of you could be feeling like worried about the future. Or you could be thinking too much about the future with the Nine of Swords. So I wouldn't, get too caught up in the future, basically, with that Nine of Swords energy. And I would make sure that you're staying focused on like your life and where things are going and all that other good stuff with the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords, is a card of worrying. He is in bed, he's had a nightmare, and he's stuck having a nightmare, basically, with the Nine of Swords. And so the Nine of Swords says we have to get out of bed, and we have to start moving forward towards, like, something new, or we have to get out of something that has become a little bit of a comfort zone. But the Nine of Swords says that pain can become a comfort zone, right? I sometimes say that I look at this card as kind of like a card of arguing for your limitations and saying, whenever we say things to ourselves like, I knew this wouldn't work, or, if you're trying to work on something, or if you're speaking negatively, that is like the Nine of Swords. So definitely an energy of needing to get out of your head. It's a very good reading, right? There are very good cards here. Sun, Three Cups, Four Wands, Ten of Cups. I mean, really good stuff. So I would not speak negatively about something you want. There is a little bit of love here. You have the Page of Cups and the Knight of Cups and the Ten of Cups and the Four of Wands. So the Page of Cups could be an admirer. It could say that you are the admirer as well. So again, if you're looking for love, this could be a person that you have your eye on or that has their eye on you. With the Sun, it would be very good because the Sun is happiness, joy. I always say I don't think a person can make us happy. We have to make ourselves happy. But, as long as it's a side effect of the connection, then it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's like, obviously, you don't want to be with a person who makes you miserable either. So, this could be a very happy connection that is coming in for you. And, again, it could lead to a commitment. You have the Four of Wands. I always say Four of Wands doesn't have to be marriage. It can just be a deep commitment that you're making to a person. And so, again, definitely looks like a commitment to me with the Page of Cups. I also feel if you don't want love, and even if you do, I do feel the Page of Cups could be an opportunity. He has this fish in the cup here, and I always say that fish might not exist. We don't know. It might be part of his imagination. Some people say it's his pet, whatever. And I always say it doesn't matter. He needs to grab onto that fish and bring it down to earth. So, again, it can kind of represent you getting an opportunity or seeing an opportunity in like work or business or some other area of your life where it kind of looks like an opportunity, but you're not sure. And I feel like this is saying, grab on to those opportunities that are coming in for you. You have the Ten of Cups, fortune after difficulty, and good things coming in. So I like the Ten of Cups because it can say that good things are coming after a difficult period of time in your life. Obviously, very good for love. Could be saying that you're attracting a person that you will, have a family with in the future, which is great. You always get these cards of your dream life, Aries. Like, obviously it's like maybe it has been a very dreamy time for you. Kind of makes sense because we had ton of energy in Pisces, and we had Neptune in Pisces in your 12th house for a very long period of time, Aries. So a lot of you have probably been having dreams, and these could be like dreams to improve your life, or dreams to accomplish something, or dreams about love, or whatever it is. These could be like literally having dreams, but it could also just be like having a dream, like having a goal, having things that you want to accomplish. And, as I always say to you, Aries, it is definitely time for you to charge towards your dreams, whatever they are, no matter how impossible they may seem. Again, we're going to have Neptune revisiting Pisces this year. It's going to retrograde back into Pisces, but so you might get back into a little bit more of a dreamy space, especially with the Page of Cups and the Knight of Cups. Both the Page of Cups and Knight of Cups are very dreamy. So, again, I would be processing your dreams, thinking about your dreams in the sense of like your goals, right? Yeah, with the Nine of Swords, you have the Hangman, which is kind of like stuck energy as well. The Hangman isn't necessarily bad stuck. He is hanging from the tree of knowledge and wisdom. His head is glowing on this card, and the head glowing kind of represents enlightenment. So he has put himself on pause to gain enlightenment in his life, or to gain answers. And again, a lot of you, maybe even if you have been stuck in a cycle for probably at least 6 months or so, then this could say you're finally setting yourself free. You have gained the answers. I also think it's interesting that we have the Hermit and the Sun. The Hermit has your inner light inside this lantern, and the Sun is also enlightenment. So we kind of see a lot of light coming through with this reading, and a lot of enlightenment as well, which could say that you are finally realizing that you can move forward. With the Page of Cups, you have the Nine of Swords. Again, if you are attracting love, you could be worried about repeating a cycle. So, it's like maybe if you have the same story in love, like, if everybody always leaves you after 6 months, or, whatever your story is in love, this could be saying that you are attracted to a person, but you're worried about repeating the story. The Nine of Swords is really about taking control. I always say that there is this carving on the bed here, and there's a person who's hitting another person with a sword right here on the bed. And it kind of says you can be the bug or the windshield. You can be the thing that gets splatted against something, or you can be the immovable force. And so the Nine of Swords is really about taking control of a situation. So if you want love and you're worried, it says, like, why are you worried? It's like, maybe you're worried that they're going to cheat. Well, it's like all cheaters pretty much say that they're going to cheat before they even cheat, right? Through their behavior. So we can take control with the Nine of Swords in love, for example, by paying attention to behavior. Same thing in work. I kind of feel something different for work or business. Like if you're worried, like I feel like some of you actually are improving your finances right now, but sometimes I feel when we do get better finances, we immediately start worrying. We immediately start to think like, when is this all going to get taken away? When am I going to lose all the money I just made? When all those thoughts. And I feel like the Nine of Swords is saying, like, this actually means that you are kind of, again, leaving a comfort zone, and you need to, like, set a new limit for yourself. And it shouldn't be a limit either. But, I'm a big believer in the fact that we all have an idea of what we can make, and, like, that's it in our head. Like, we have a certain amount of money where it is our upper limit, as they say. And we need to exceed that limit to get above it. And I feel like this is saying, like, no, you have the ability to exceed what you're doing, but you have to, like, push yourself a little bit at this time. With the Ten of Cups, you have the King of Cups. Could be a water sign or someone who is watery. It could also be an air sign. Like, it could be an air sign with water, water sign with a bunch of air, something like that that's coming in for you. But King of Cups would be, like, a very emotionally connected person. Again, one thing I will say is that King of Cups comes up quite a bit in love readings nowadays, and I kind of feel like it makes sense energetically, and it doesn't have to be a water sign. A King of Cups type person can just be a person who's very stable, who doesn't, like, worry about everything that's going on. Obviously, there's a lot going on in the world, so, having a person who's kind of, like emotionally unmovable, someone who's very, like, stable, level-headed, who doesn't freak out about every little thing, I just kind of feel like that, of course, that's more attractive to people at this time. So, again, it could be any sign, but it could just be someone who's, like, emotionally stable, right? Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have Let Love Guide You. There you go. It says, choose to see the good in the world today. Nine of Swords. We have to choose to see the good, for sure. You have this Spend Time in Nature. It says, let the beauty of nature refresh your soul. So a lot of you might need to get out there, get out into nature, touch some grass, breathe some fresh air, all that stuff, especially having the Hermit. The Hermit, is in hermit mode. He's been through a dark night of the soul, and he's climbed to the top of this mountain where he is shining his inner light. But I always say that, the Hermit, there was a point to his journey. He had to go climb this mountain, but now he's in isolation. And I always say that I believe that the Hermit, his next steps are to come down from the mountain and to shine his inner light. But it's kind of like a little bit of a challenge, because it's very tempting to stay in isolation, especially if you've been hurt, or, if you've been dealing with some obstacles or challenges, or if you are kind of in a protected space. It's hard to leave that space. But that's exactly what the Hermit has to do, because by shining his light into the world, he changes the world. And, really with Pluto and Aquarius, that's what it's all about. Pluto and Aquarius is about the collective changing the world on an individual level. So I think some astrologers get it wrong with Pluto and Aquarius, where they say that it's the collective, but that doesn't mean that we need to become some part of like some AI hive mind, right? Really, there is a very independent side to that Pluto and Aquarius energy, where it's like we have to do things independently that could benefit the collective. So if you're doing that, then you could change the world, right? Or you could make some big changes somewhere. You have the sun, which is great, best card in the deck. A lot of sun energy this week, which is good. Definitely kind of leaves a more happy feeling to the week and could bring in some more happy energy into the week as well. So I like to see that. The sun in a reading also says the sun is shining on you. So, again, the other part of Pluto and Aquarius is going to be attention. And I've been begging people for years to get more positive attention. We're not talking about, negative attention here, because Pluto and Aquarius is also the truth. Like, I'm sure you've seen it, how there like tons of influencers, celebrities, like things like that are getting exposed for the bad things that they do, but they're getting negative attention, right? So as long as we get positive attention for doing good things, then the sun will shine on us. And that's pretty much what we want with the sun card. But also, if you want love, this is very good. Could say that you getting out in public, we have the Three of Cups right here. Three of Cups represents your community. So getting out in public, going and socializing, all those things could lead to you getting attention that leads to love. You have the King of Swords. I do feel like you could be attracting a very wise person. They could be older than you. King of Swords usually is an older person, but doesn't have to be. It could just say that there's like an age gap, or it could also just be about maturity. It's like sometimes I think King of Swords can be younger, but it can just be a very wise person. I'm also getting something about like a big change here. He has these butterflies behind him, and butterflies are symbols of like transformation, and maybe that's what you need to realize with the Nine of Swords. I love talking about caterpillar soup, right? It's like before a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, it goes into its chrysalis, and it becomes like caterpillar soup and turns into a butterfly. And so sometimes I get that feeling on the King of Swords, where it's like you've been in caterpillar soup before you become the butterfly. To me, that can also say that something is in a fragile state, not like in a bad way, but it's like if you're building a business, for example, and you've been in caterpillar soup, it's like, and you're just starting it out. The King of Swords sometimes, I think, says you need to add some structure to make something more secure. And that's what I would be thinking about here with the King of Swords. I don't know, it's popping into my head. Again, that's not really what the King of Swords represents, but I read intuitively, and that's what I'm getting, that you need to add some more structure to something. Especially if you have a business or a career, or if you're working on anything important, there might be ways to make it stronger. And this could be like just learning. We see a lot of knowledge and wisdom in this reading. So sometimes education is the thing that helps us. It could be getting other people to help you with the Three of Cups. It could be changing direction with the Seven of Pentacles as well coming up. So, I think there are a couple of things you could do to add some structure to whatever you're working on. With the Hermit, you have the Ace of Swords, which is like a big victory. We were talking about the truth a minute ago, so definitely the Hermit is shining, that inner light is his inner truth. And so a lot of you could be kind of revealing some inner truths about your life at this time. This reading kind of reminds me of those times where we finally admit to ourselves that we don't want to do something anymore, or that we want to make a change, or that we want to do something different in life. And I kind of get that here. Like some of you could just be like admitting a truth to yourself that moves you in a much better direction. With the Sun, you have the Ace of Pentacles. Damn, we were talking about like an opportunity or something with that Page of Cups. So, there definitely could be a real solid opportunity here that's coming in for you. I just get the feeling with that Page of Cups, that in the Nine of Swords, that either this is something that you've done before that didn't work, obviously because of the Nine of Swords. So, whenever I have something like this in a reading, it tells me that that it's almost like a second chance, but maybe you failed the first time and now it's like coming back around. And I would try again, especially if this is work related with the Ace of Pentacles, or financially related as well. That Page of Cups, I was getting like a more dreamy energy, which I always get with the Page of Cups, but like more. It's almost like saying, like I feel like, that Ace of Pentacles might be an opportunity that just feels a little too good to be true. I'm not saying it is too good to be true. I'm just saying, like, when you are presented with the opportunity, if it's in work or business, you might be like, this seems a little bit too easy. Now, I'm not saying that you have to commit to anything or anything like that, right? But I think it would be worth it to, like, explore it. The other thing about the Ace of Pentacles is that it's about planting seeds. We can just try just a little bit, right? So you don't have to overinvest in a new opportunity. You can just try it, see if it grows, see if it doesn't, and if it grows, keep going. With the King of Swords, you have the Death card. A Death card could be a transformation. We were literally talking all about transformation with that Death card. I was paying attention to those butterflies that are on the King of Swords. So, I mean, literally what I was saying. You know, whenever this happens, I just think it's confirmation from the universe that the message is correct. So, you know, I think this is just confirmation for what I said. Next, in the area messages from your future self, you have this card that says, you still have some new skills to acquire. You can't make this one up before you can really advance to the next stage of your career. I was talking about knowledge or gaining knowledge to add structure to whatever it is you're doing. So definitely what I would do there. You have this obligations card. It says you have some prior contracts or commitments that still need to be fulfilled before you can completely move on to the next stage of your journey. This could also be the structure, this obligations thing. You know, it could say that doing some things in your life, cleaning up some pieces of your life, could be the thing that adds more structure in your life or makes things more secure, gives you more time. And I feel like that would be great with that obligations card. You have the Four Swords, Seven of Pentacles, and Three of Cups. Four Swords is resting, relaxing, recovering, of course. It is a card where he is just kind of like laying down here on his tomb, and he's resting, relaxing, recovering, but he's hoping and praying for a blessing. You know, there's a person here who's blessing this other person in this stained glass window. A lot of the readings for May and even the May bonus readings, and also this first week, you know, this is the first like real week of May, and even the readings for this week had a lot of blessing stuff. It's kind of weird. You know, it's like I don't really see blessings in the astrology, right? Although, not that it's bad, and Venus will be moving back into, or is in Aries, and so it's like, but I don't really see those blessings. I think that we could be creating some blessings for ourselves, like if we take action on something, and if we make something happen. And so I would say if you have any ideas to like grow something in your life, I would definitely do it with that card. You have the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles is a change in direction, of course. You know, he's looking at those Seven Pentacles and he's saying, is the juice worth the squeeze? So a lot of you could be kind of like looking at those Seven Pentacles and you could be saying to yourself, like, is the juice worth the squeeze based off of what you're working on? So, you know, that's kind of like what I would be focusing on here with the Seven Pentacles is, you know, are things worth it? And definitely the Nine of Swords as well. The Nine of Swords we can get is like Groundhog's Day. You know, we can get into a little bit of a routine. It becomes boring. It becomes mundane. And then we don't like it any longer. And then we start making sacrifices or we don't do things as well as we did. And then things get boring, right? And then we don't do as well as we did. And so the Seven of Pentacles says something has to change, like probably in work or business. if I've been doing this for 10 years. If it was boring for me, I wouldn't be able to do it. I'm the type of person, if something's boring, I just can't do it, right? So I think of the Seven of Pentacles as a couple of things. Now, there are a couple of things I do for this channel to make sure that I don't get bored, right? I run a lot of experiments, which keeps me interested. And, and I'm always learning about tarot and astrology, which also keeps me interested, right? So Seven of Pentacles doesn't say you have to, like, quit your job or quit your business. It just says, how can you inject more life into what you're doing? You know, same thing in relationships as well. It's like, I think that too many people leave relationships that are actually really good for them because they have gotten boring, which is understandable at the same time, right? And but really, it's like, what if you did something to spice things up or mix it up or do something different? It's like sometimes we just need a little bit of a mix up, and that's kind of the feeling I feel for you here, Aries. Like I don't really feel the full change in direction. I feel it's like more that you need to inject some like excitement into what you're doing, and I think that would make a big change. You have the Three of Cups, so people want to help you, and Three of Cups is part of your community. These three people are celebrating a harvest here. I'm not going to sugarcoat it here for you, Aries. I feel for some of you that there could be blessings coming in this week, but you're saying to yourself, like, why am I not as happy as I should be? Or maybe this has already happened for some of you as well, Aries. And again, I don't think this is a bad thing. I think it's just like a little thing that you should pay attention to because, sometimes when that happens, I think it's the universe is guiding us. It's like saying, well, you're not happy because, you're not doing things in the right way. Or, maybe because it's like sometimes I think we can have a big success, but if we're lonely, for example, Three Cups wants us to be around people. If we have success at the sacrifice of relationships, not just love, but all relationships, then we're not truly fulfilled. And I don't know, I just get, this is a kind of a weird reading in a way. I feel like it's good, not bad, but definitely something to think about. And, the Three of Cups, I feel, is saying like, that you need to kind of focus on celebrations, having fun, spending time with people who matter to you at this time. With the Four of Swords, you have the Four of Wands. Definitely could be a solid connection coming in for you. Four of Wands twice, Knight of Cups, Page of Cups, King of Swords, all this good stuff. So if you want love, definitely could be something. You could have been hoping and praying for this as well with the Four of Swords. So if you have been hoping and praying for a strong connection, I definitely feel you could be getting one. With the Seven of Pentacles, you have the Four of Swords here. Four of Swords with the Seven of Pentacles is kind of like sleeping on a decision, but not in a bad way. It says that if you are making a change, that, kind of taking some time to think about it. And I think we're in a time, especially in the month of May, I feel that people really need to pay attention to the evidence. I would say 2024 was all about the evidence, meaning any choices you're making, anything you're doing, you need to look at the actual facts and see what happens. I'm getting a little bit of that energy for you here, even though we're in 2025, obviously, where it's like there could be some choices you're making, but I think you literally maybe you need to sit down and write a pros and cons list about, a relationship or a business or an idea or a change that you want to make, right? And you really need to kind of look at the evidence and say to yourself, is this honestly working? And I feel that would be very good with that card. With the Three of Cups, you have the Nine of Cups. A lot of happiness coming through here. Like I said, it's kind of weird that I feel like you're not as happy as you want to be, but the fact that we get the Nine of Cups says you could be correcting this. Nine of Cups is about choosing fulfillment. He has to be in the energy of fulfillment before he gets his wish on the Nine of Cups. So if you aren't happy, or if you're not as happy as you thought you would be when you accomplish something, the Nine of Cups could say that kind of just being in a good energy would be really good for you, and making sure you're doing things that do bring fulfillment will kind of quickly change that energy in general. Next, in the good stuff, you have this intuition card and this releasing blocks card. So number one, trust your intuition, of course. I feel like you need to listen to your inner voice and listen to your intuition. The releasing blocks card, I feel, is saying that you are releasing blockages that have been holding you back, especially if you want love. Again, I don't think this is only a love reading, but there is a lot of love here, right? So if you do want love, maybe there have been some blockages, or Nine of Swords, some worries, or maybe there has been too much worrying, and that's what you could be releasing about a connection, right? You have the Knight of Cups, the Four of Cups, and the Four of Wands, so marriage, right? You could be meeting a person that you will marry. Could be a knight in shining armor. And, there you go if you want love. The Knight of Cups can also be about your dream. Again, he feels like he's standing in the desert, because he is. But he has this water flowing in front of him. I always say this card is the time that we are in. All of us. It kind of looks like for a lot of us, we probably have things we want to accomplish. But at the same time, it might feel like we are in the desert, like we don't have the tools, the time, the resources, or whatever to accomplish something. But if we look closer, there probably is a way to get started, right? The water flowing in the desert. So we all kind of have to be a little bit more, kind of come up with creative solutions and be resourceful to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. You have the Four of Cups. Four of Cups is a card of contemplation and apathy. Normally, he would not be accepting this cup because he's been disappointed before, but it's coming up in the good stuff, so you could definitely be getting a love offer that you can't help but to accept. So this could be a very good connection for you here, Aries, and I like to see that. Next, you have the Four Wands. The Four Wands can represent marriage or a strong commitment. So I feel for some of you that there could be like marriage potential here with the Four Wands, or you could be getting married. The Four Wands can also represent, like I said, a commitment to something. So you could be making a commitment to a new direction in your life with the Seven of Pentacles. And yeah, I just kind of like feel that energy with the Four Wands. So I do like to see that. I do feel like some of you, this would be freedom from the misery as well with the Nine of Swords. Four Wands is a card of freedom, and you have it twice here. So some of you could be like, and the Nine of Swords is a cycle. The thing about the Four Wands is it's kind of like a finish line card. We have to like finish one thing to cross through the threshold and get to the other side on the Four Wands. So I do feel like a lot of you could be like completing one thing and getting to the next stage. You cannot make this up. With the Knight of Cups, you have the Queen of Pentacles, resources. I literally said it. So whenever this happens, I really like readings like this that kind of, make sense with the clarification. And so, again, tapping into resources, she is resourceful. Even if she doesn't have the money to do something, she has other resources that she can use. We have this rabbit here on the card. The rabbit can represent fertility and abundance. It can also represent fears and anxiety. But the whole point of the card is she's focused on what she has. She's not focused on the fears and anxiety, and that's definitely something I would pay attention to. With the Four of Cups, you have the Two of Swords. Two of Swords is like this or that thinking. I kind of feel pretty good about this reading for love here, Aries. Even if you're, this could be something that comes in over the month or over the next couple months. Two of Swords is kind of like thinking this or that and, thinking that you have to settle. But when it comes up in the good stuff, it could say you are actually finding a person or a thing that you actually want. So really good. With the Four of Wands, yes, you have two cards. You have the Emperor, you, and the Knight of Wands. So whenever you show up as yourself, it puts you in a position of power and strength. The Knight of Wands is also kind of a little bit a card of freedom. So some of you could be gaining freedom, or you could be feeling more free. You could be feeling like you can be more spontaneous and that you can do what you want to do when you want to do it. So that looks really good as well. Can't make this one up either. You have this older man. It says dealing with relationships with an older man. Definitely could be attracting a more mature person. I always clarify these people cards. You have this four-leaf clover. It says great good fortune on it. So there definitely could be good fortunes that are coming in for you here, Aries. You have this egg card. It says success assured with good plans and hard work. So yeah, I think I said something kind of about hard work. Like I get this feeling of needing to put in just like I wouldn't even call it hard work, Aries. I feel just like a little bit more effort. And I would also be focusing with that King of Swords on structure, the butterfly energy. When a butterfly first hatches, it has to like pump up its wings. And that is kind of like the energy I was getting off of that King of Swords. Call me crazy, but that's what I'm getting. And so like intuitively, I'm taking that as structure. It's like something needs stronger bones, whether it's a new relationship, a new business, a new something that you're starting. It's like, again, without knowing what you do, I can't really give you any good examples, but it's like I would be thinking, what do I need to do to make this really strong? And that's what I would be figuring out right there. You have this fire card. It says strong. Speaking of strong, it says strong emotions, passionate love or hate. I would say this is definitely passionate love, so I feel there could be a strong connection here. You have this skull card. It says hidden secrets can harm you. Number one, you and Pisces. I think you and Pisces need to be very careful of people right now. And I'm talking about people who have like ulterior motives for sure. So, I would be careful of people that you've never met before. But really this is motives, right? It's like you're not stupid, Aries. You can tell when someone wants something more than what they're saying, right? And that's what I would be careful of here. If you get a feeling with a person that they want more than what they're saying, then I would be very careful of that. That's definitely popping into my head. You have two of these plus another card because I always clarify these monthly cards. You have this April card and this October card, and then you have this Tiger card that says doing something risky, taking a chance. Now, you could have taken a risk in April, and you could be seeing the result of it in October because, basically, we have the eclipses in March and so kind of April, and then, the next eclipses are like in September, so kind of October. So it's like, I feel that some of you have done something risky risky in this, in this eclipse season, and it could really be paying off for you between now and October is basically what I feel there. But this is really interesting, Aries. I haven't had a reading like this. I don't even know how to describe it. I have no words. I'm at a loss for words with your reading, so I don't know. Take it or leave it. Thank you for being here. Have a nice day.